Hey Ian, how's it going, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Got it. Well, thanks, man, for taking the time to talk with us today. I really appreciate it as a fan.
of course. Of course. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, how's life going for you today? Like with this crazy pandemic going on, how has your family been during this time?
We're great. Life is beautiful for us. I mean, we already work from home. My daughter's homeschooled. My 8-year-old is homeschooled. My girlfriend's 15-year-old wants to be homeschooled. If her sons are older, they're grown-ups. We're just taking this time to just kind of bond and love each other and, just make the best of it. We're working away. We've got a lot of projects going on, and this gives us, I guess, more time to focus on it because we work from the morning. The moment I wake up in the morning to 8 or 9 o'clock at night is just that's what we do all day.
Yeah. And I just wanted to ask about your endeavors. It's been almost a year now since you retired from the sport of MMA. I just wanted to ask, what have you been working on since then? And, are you excited for any future projects?
It'll be 2 years on Thursday. My retirement.
Oh, 2 years. Sorry about that.
Oh no, it's okay. So since leading mixed martial arts, I have become the world's first, or at least I'm the first open one that talks about it in the public, psychedelic integration coach for high-level athletes and performers.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have a shirt off. I just worked out. I work in psychedelics. I educate in psychedelics. I work on the political level with the DCRIM-CA, or Decriminalized California. Just checking all the boxes. I work on a political level, on a spiritual or psycho-spiritual level, a shamanistic level with a three-different shaman. I'm about to partake on a 3-year course to become, I don't want to be, I'm not trying to be a shaman. I'm just trying to personally evolve and educate myself on everything that has to do with psychedelics. So I'll be certified through the ONAC, or the Native American Church Council, or whatever it is. I should know what it stands for. Just working in psychedelics. It's not a new science, but it is a new science, and it's been on hold for so long that I'm lucky. I mean, my girlfriend's a professor at UCLA, and she's been there for almost 2 decades. She's been a scientist for 25 years and a professor, so she's a big part of my education. She's definitely, just given a few months, she'll be shown as one of the leading brains in psychedelics and in the trauma and the trauma side of it. I mean, she deals with a lot of the sexual trauma and addiction stuff. Where I deal with more or less the performance side of it and the healing benefits of it for the physical damage of the brain. I have a study going with the UFC that it's just in the beta stage, right? The beta testing kind of phase at this moment. I work with a company called Unlimited Sciences, and we have the world's biggest psilocybin research. They work with Johns Hopkins and the FDA and everything. So we're trying to make a study for the healing benefits and trauma benefits, the actual physical brain, through, because you have CTE and TBI, and when you're microdosing psilocybin specifically, you have something that happens called epigenetic neurogenesis.
Got it.
And that is the big word of the day, epigenetic neurogenesis. And that's the healing of that's the physical healing of the brain, the receptor sites, the neural pathways, new neural pathways being built. The damage you get from drug abuse. I was on pain medicine from 14 to 34. The whole time I competed. The one time that I got sober from pain medicine, I became the best in the world. So I don't know what that means, but just being able to heal from all these different things we do to our brain, the big shots, the small shots, the abuse with chemicals. This is an amazing way to heal. Now, there's science showing that there's healing of TBI and CTE. This is something that's plaguing all sports, or most sports. People hitting their head, crashing motorcycles or whatever. And these people who are good people, good men and women, are now going crazy. They're impulsive. They abuse their loved ones in every way, shape, and form. And I know that being someone who was on suicide watch when I retired, and I wasn't doing good. I wasn't doing good at all. I had brain damage. I still do, but through this obsession with my healing and through the education, I found a way to heal myself. And I can attest to it because I did it. So that's why when I talk, intellectuals like scientists and doctors, they listen. It's nice. I'll never be a doctor or a scientist, but I take pride in what I do in this space, and the education and the harm prevention, and the performance benefits. That's my thing. Is yes, everyone needs healing. It's not just physical damage. We're all broken children. We all have childhood trauma. That's all sex or violence or abandonment, and we can fix these things through psychedelics. First, that's the first thing you got to work on is healing people, just to be a better person, be a happier person, be content with their life, and compartmentalize the things that they use in their life, in the daily ritual, and it makes life better.
Yeah. And, I just wanted to ask, do you think mental health is something that's overlooked in the sport of MMA? Like, do you think we should talk about it more? Because, you're very open about, overcoming such obstacles like suicide and drug addiction or, and alcoholism. Do you just think that's something that should be presented on a bigger platform such as MMA?
Oh yeah, it's huge, and like I said, when I talk, people listen, and it's nice to have that. Now, the UFC is their arms are open to what I'm doing. They've told me Jeff Davitsky is a mentor of mine, I guess you could say. I had the UFC's first CBD deal through a company I'm a part of called the Lixicure. We have the world's first FDA and third-party certified CBD lab and product here in Southern California. And, so the UFC, they know I don't mess around, and more or less Jeff specifically, and I pitched it to him. My girlfriend needed a study, and I was like, oh, I have a good idea. I'll talk to the UFC about it. And they bid. And I brought, now the UFC invites me out. They can't publicly fund the study and everything we're doing because they're a U.S.-based company, and in the U.S. it's a Schedule I substance. But they love what I'm doing. They personally will text me or call me like, hey, are you coming this weekend? Like, do you need tickets? Because this is a good one. You need to talk to me. You need to get this word out of what you're doing. So that feels good, because I have friends like Daniel Garcia. He's a two-time Stanley Cup winner for the Blackhawks in Chicago. He's being blackballed. He's being blackballed by the NHL for him speaking out on this sort of stuff. And just like my best friend died because of brain damage and drug abuse and this kind of crazy life that you get after all this brain damage. The NHL is trying to they're shunning him, they're blackballing him, and I mean this is the age of information. Fuck you. That's not how it works. Everyone has a voice now, and we have an even bigger voice because people don't listen. Sadly, they don't listen to doctors and scientists, partially because they can't understand half of what's going on. But they'll listen to people like me because I have a blue check mark, and because I have a blue check mark. That's really it. And sure, I take that responsibility really serious, as you can tell. I want to give them the best information I can, and keep everyone safe, and make sure that everyone knows that people like myself can be trusted, and that we've checked every box. From the science to the natural to the psycho-spiritual to everything. Mm-hmm. We're doing all the right stuff to show people this isn't going away. We're not gonna screw this up like they did in the '60s because finally society's ready to hear it. They're open and willing to hear what we have to say, and it's working. Everything's getting better and closer.
Got it. And I just wanted to ask, how do you feel about fighters like Luke Rockhold or Alex Gustafson or Jimmy Manuwa, they've recently said that they're open to coming out of retirement, that they're getting the itch again. How do you feel as a fighter who's retired? How do you feel about the decision to maybe go back into MMA? Like, would you support it, or do you think they should kind of stay retired?
They need to stay retired. But that's because I've made peace with it. I'm never gonna fight again. I got offered a fight in bare knuckle boxing recently.
Oh wow!
They said,
Oh
big money.
man!
Yeah, they tried to pitch me big money, and I was like, fuck you. Do I look like an idiot? I'm not fighting in bare knuckle. That's crazy.
Yeah, bare
And
knuckle is just too much.
yeah, and the offer was extremely low, so I laughed at it. But I don't want to fight anymore. I've been fighting my entire life since I was 4. It's all I've ever done is trained in martial arts and fist fighting. I'm really good at it, and I just want to coach and I want to be happy because I wasn't happy in my career. I was tortured. I was miserable. I was fucking crazy, and I don't ever want to be that person again. I don't want to hurt anybody anymore. I don't want to hurt myself. More importantly, it's just people don't want to admit it, but we're getting and receiving, or we're giving and receiving PTSD while we're in there. Trauma is stored tissue, and it's climbing into a cage in your underwear to beat someone's ass for blood money, and for everyone else's view and pleasure, is a little traumatic on the psyche. Even if you're at these glorious heights like Conor McGregor and stuff, it can be on just your every sense of you.
Yeah, I like how you're shedding some light on that aspect of the sport, because I feel like we don't get to hear words like yours that very often, and it's just amazing to hear your insight on what the sport truly means to you.
Yeah, I was part of a generation that helped build this sport. I was the young kid that became the best in the world, and then became friends and colleagues and brothers with the people that I looked up to. These are my idols growing up are my good friends, and I'm lucky in that sense to have been able to accomplish that. To I guess more or less exploit my genetic lottery and my makeup as far as my lust for that sort of thing was just, I don't know, it drove me crazy, but it was something I've been through, and I've come out on the other side a lot better, and I just want to teach the fighters that they don't have to make the mistakes that I did, because I was at the most elite levels of all this, and I fell from grace real hard, where I could have had everything and I blew it. So I want to make sure these guys don't have the regrets that I do. And I guess I don't really have regrets. Whatever, it is what it is. My life's amazing. But I just want to show people, look, there's other ways than to be like me and throw a lot of stuff away. It's just, it'll never sit well, with me. I've made peace with it, but it's still in there that, I was a monster back then. It was crazy.
Yeah. And, seeing your fights of Demetrius Johnson, man, that was very much the pinnacle of your career. You arguably beat Demetrius on both those nights, and to see the judges think differently, that was kind of heartbreaking to me, because you were so close to capturing that title, but it was taken away. How do you feel about that decision and everything that happened that night?
Certain mistakes will forever change the course of someone's life, and that definitely did. That they were pitching me to be Conor before there was Conor, and I'm not saying I'm like Conor. He's a very special individual. But I would have excelled in that position and made a lot of money. But see, me, the catalyst for me going back to drugs again, for me fucking my life up again. Whereas someone like Demetrius used me and our fight as a catalyst to become, if not then one of the best in the world ever. And he's continuing to do so. So, I look at things from all perspectives, every perspective that I can. He's a great guy, and what I have been able to accomplish, 11 or 12 title defenses like he did, and I mean, I know that I would be making a lot more money. I'd have a lot more fame than him, and I know it would have gotten to my head. And the little amount that I did in the first place went to my head. It's just so yeah. I've made peace with it, but sure, it irks me a little bit because that things could be much different. But I just there's no point in looking back and being sad about anything. I really appreciate and enjoy my time that I had in the sport and with the UFC, and I've known these people my whole life, or most of my life, and it's just it was a good time. I had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad to hear that, man. And speaking about the UFC, like the flyweight division is such a mess right now. Just how do you feel about the landscape of the flyweight division with Henry Cejudo being at bantamweight and there being a vacant title right now?
I mean, it is what it is. Like he's an amazing champion. And you can't take it away from him, even though he's kind of a douche. But that's his whole shtick,
Yeah.
His whole shtick. I think it's gross, but I mean, whatever. It's his thing. I'm gonna let him be how he wants to be. Who cares? But I think the division could be much better, especially with a person like him who's got so much notoriety for the things that he's accomplished. He's a fucking Olympian. He's a two-time or a two-division champion. He's important. And sorry, I'm gonna get out of my car. He could be marketed better, I think. But I don't know. People don't like the cringe, I guess.
Yeah. And having the pound for pound best mustache, in MMA and arguably the world, I have to ask, how do you get that kind of mustache? I've been trying to grow something like that for like about a year now.
Patience. Yeah, it's all about patience. You gotta groom it right. Yeah, and get good product in. But it'll be hard for you, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And just like, do you think you have the pound for pound best mustache in MMA?
Well, no, Mike Beltran takes that one.
Mike Beltran?
Yeah.
That's great, man.
His is like 6 feet of hair.
And thank you so much for taking the time. I don't want to take any more of your time, but thank you so much, Ian. I really appreciate everything that you've done for the sport, and being a pioneer of the sport, I have a lot of respect for you. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'll see you later, man.
Yeah.
And if I could send you a T-shirt, just let me know, okay?
Sounds good. I'd love one.
Okay.
See you, man.
Bye.